other people, all the while neglecting myself. I was consumed with other people. I would hardly ever focus on myself, and then wonder why I wasn't getting anywhere in my own life.
Wow. When you get so fixated in someone else's life, it kind of like blinds you from even seeing what's going on in your own life. And then you look up and they done left you and you still in the same place that you was before you even started.
Yeah, it was a mess. Like you said, it was a hot mess.
Hot mess.
But I also found myself in abusive relationships. So that's why one of the definitions we went over earlier hit me. One was emotionally abusive and one physically. And the crazy thing is I stayed way beyond the expiration dates of those relationships because I was trying to make things work. I didn't want to be a quitter. I wanted to give unconditional love. That's what I, told myself. And my aha moment really came as my last relationship was ending. I just started reflecting and noticing a pattern in my life because, and B, I have been a serial, but this is even before me and you met. But I've been a serial short-term relationship person like my whole entire life from high school on up until. And I was always the one ending the relationships for various reasons. So I started looking up abandonment issues, codependency, because I knew the loss of my parents at a young age affected me. I just didn't fully know how.
Right.
So after I read information on both the topics, I saw myself all through those words on the page. Like they read me from cover to cover.
Read you for filth.
I was like, oh my God, this is me. I had been actively seeking therapy anyway with no luck. And I was highly frustrated by that. But thankfully I found a psychologist. And after telling her some of the issues that I wanted to address, she said that people who are codependent or have the savior complex develop those behaviors because they felt like no one saved them at some point in their childhood. And that when they try to save others, they are trying to save themselves.
Wow. Now that is really, really deep. And I can see that, you don't want anybody else to kind of go through what you went through or feel the way that you feel. So in actuality, it's something that's not intentional. You just want to make sure that they know that you are empathetic in a way, and it can start off that way. But again, it's a very slippery slope once it starts to, like you said, get fixated and not able to really live your own life.
Yeah. And so when she told me that, it really hit me like a ton of bricks. As a child, I desperately wanted to be saved. I did not have the best relationship with my grandmother growing up. I wanted to live with my dad when he was still alive or live with my mom's side of the family, but no one ever saved me from what was emotionally traumatic for me. So all this time I have been trying to save myself by saving other people. Epic fail, but that's what I was trying to do.
Right.
And all to the detriment of myself. But I'm so glad that I'm aware now and I can heal my inner child and be the woman that I'm meant to be.
Now that's beautiful. That inner child, healing that inner child is so important. Listening to it, letting that inner child know that it's okay and that they don't, and that you see them, because that's the biggest thing, is that your inner child wants to be seen and recognized, and that's where the healing starts and begins. So that's beautiful. I'm glad that you're taking the steps to get that healing with them, your inner child.
Yes, ma'am. And so we know we have dropped a heavy load today, and we don't want to leave you heavy. So we definitely are going to explore some ways that you can overcome. If you find yourself in this, and you are not alone, first of all, but we're going to go over some ways that you can overcome. So go ahead, let our listeners know what are some ways that they can overcome.
Well, I always start with a little story. So, I work really hard to recognize when I'm displaying controlling behaviors in all of my relationships. Now, when codependency traits start to pop up, I have to nib them in the bud immediately. So one of the ways that you can overcome them is understanding what they are. And we gave you some great examples earlier. Controlling, not being able to focus on your own life. And if you see those things pop up, immediately you have to say, I cannot control another person. I cannot control another person. I have to focus on myself and nib it in the bud immediately. And it's not even about the other person anymore for me. It's really about myself. when I see these traits kind of pop up, because it's almost like you're always a recovering codependency person, so it's like those little things kind of creep up, and it's not, like I said, it's not about them, it's about myself. I don't want to feel miserable or worthless because of someone else that I have no control over. I mean, if Mind Your Business was a person, it is definitely me. I'm minding all my own business because I can't control nobody and what nobody does, right? And I'm damn sure not finna be miserable or feeling worthless because of somebody else crap, so I nib that right in the butt. I can't make someone do something because, of my own insecurities, right? And that's why I said earlier that codependency is a hot mess. I mean, it's truly a hot mess. And so basically overcoming codependency is basically recognizing that you cannot control someone else. And if you're in a relationship where you're the taker and dependent upon somebody else, you have to realize that this is a cycle that can't really be resolved. And you have to stop depending on that person, first of all, because even if they make you need them more and more and more, you have to stop. But I know that Mellenee has a lot of great resources. And so I'm going to let her give you guys all the tea on that, because she has a lot of good information on overcoming that. Mel, what you got, girlfriend?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Well, y'all, I asked my psychologist first, and she simply said, spend time with myself. So basic and simple, right? Spend time with yourself. And while this seems easy, it has always been a struggle for me because I don't like being alone. And there's only one time I recall enjoying my solitude, and that was back in 2001, 2002. And I hadn't really found that same peace since then, but I knew she was telling me the truth, and I was going to have to face myself and spend time with myself. I had to break the habit of going from relationship to relationship and one circle of friends to another. I cannot be consumed by other people in their lives. I can't. It's time to actually save myself, okay? It's time to stop trying to save myself through proxy and actually save myself. So she recommended that I schedule some me time. And I'm like, okay. At the same time, I'm thinking, well, what can I do by myself?
I love that you were saying that it's actually time to save yourself and not by proxy, because you're so deserving of it. You're so deserving of the healing process that it takes letting go of trying to control someone else and really focusing on your life. You deserve it. And I cannot wait to see all that you do in this time of self-reflection and self-love and do, girl, like I said, let me tell you, spoil yourself. Do what you want to do, okay? Because the gag is, if you don't do it, nobody else will do it for you, okay?
No, that's a fact.
so get out there and do everything. Say yes, 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 yes to yourself.
I do say yes to myself. I say hell yes.
Hey.
But thank you, friend. I appreciate that. And so something else though that she said, no, I'm sorry. I committed in that moment that I was going to do what she said. And somehow we got on the subject of escaping. And then I, quickly realized that binge watching TV shows was not going to work as me time, because that's just escape. It's just filling my mind with nothing that has anything to do that's going to better me. So, I was like, she's definitely a psychologist for me, because she was reading me like a book. I knew she was right. And so some things that I now do for my me time are journaling, listening to books. I have me an adult coloring book, dancing. Yes. And some things that I want to add are yoga, cycling, unplugging is going to be huge for me, because it's either TV or social media. So unplugging is going to be good for me to hear my own damn thought, and just really hear myself and let things come up that need to come up and be released or move on. And according to the article I previously shared with y'all from medium.com, the author gives 3 tips to changing codependent behavior. Number 1, we already covered that. Focus on yourself. Number 2, come clean about your motives. Why are you doing what you're doing? Do you really want to do that?
Yeah.
Or you just trying to get somebody to love you, or you need to feel needed in that moment? And number 3, accept your limitations, honey. I am definitely focusing on myself now, learning how to enjoy my own company and get after my goals. Okay, I'm a goal setter now. I need to be a goal getter.
Hey, beautiful.
And since I've been doing that, I've had more self-realizations that are helping me change my mindset and behavior. Things, trauma have come up and I'm able to, like I said, to release them and the negative feelings that are no longer serving me. Evaluating my motives are going to be key for me since I know the core of my behavior is the need to feel needed, so that I might have to watch that. And I'll be asking myself, do I really want to do something, or am I doing it for the wrong reason? I will ask myself, did this person ask for my help, or am I offering unsolicited help? Y'all, I'm telling you, ain't nobody asked me nothing, and I'm over here
searching for
doing
jobs
every
and
damn
shit.
thing. Oh my God. And so I know that I'm not God.
If Captain Saban was a person,
if it would have been me, y'all. It would have been me.
Lord,
it would have been me. But hey, I'm in control of myself, and I'm responsible for myself, my children, and that's it.
That's it.
I will not be taking on other people's responsibilities. I will not do for people what they do for themselves. It's progress, y'all.
Progress.
And it's development, and this is huge for me. And B, before we close out, give our listeners some good reads or articles and resources, please.
Hey, girlfriends. Hey, best friends. Hey. So a good article to read is The Savior Complex. It's basically an honest look at your toxic codependence and what you can do to overcome it. And that's from medium.com. Another one is What is Codependency? Recognizing the Signs and that's from verywellmind.com. And then Codependency from Psychology Today. I actually love reading those articles, and just a few others. Melanie, I don't know if you realized that you had told me about this app, and it was called Letting Go. And I actually love that app because it reminds you that you cannot control anyone else, and letting that go, letting that control go over the situation and the circumstances, which is really good. And also, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say real quick, that app was actually recommended to me by an advisor in a recovery program. And it is meant for codependency, but it's definitely good for motivation, inspiration, anybody with, any kind of mental health issue. That's a great app. Thank you for bringing that up.
Or trauma, and when we say recovery programs and stuff, it's not only about drug addiction or alcoholism or anything like that, but it could be recovery from codependency, recovery from, a mental breakdown or whatever. These recovery programs can be for so many different reasons. They even have a program such as Celebrate Recovery is the one that I went to, that I learned about codependency because of a trauma and just spiraling out of control. And then for people who have family members that are going through recovery and find themselves in codependent relationships, because that can really happen when someone's going through, recovery from addictions or whatever. But Al-Anon Anonymous, and they teach you the principles of non-codependent toxic behaviors.
Yeah, and the recovery I was talking about a different recovery program when I was talking about the lady that recommended an app for me. But since you touched on how recovery can be from so many different things, I am a part of a group now called We Connect Recovery, and they actually have support group times all throughout the day. And so people from all walks of life dealing with all different kinds of things come together in a community to be able to talk and share and just be heard, and also to listen. And there's people in there recovering from self-harm. There's people in there recovering from bipolar, whatever, eating disorders, whatever your issue is, or if you are just a supporter of the community, then you are welcome there as well.
Really good. Definitely recommend you check it out. It's very good for any type of mental health, just being around people who are, it's a great community to be a part of.
Most definitely. I have loved this conversation. This has been a great conversation.
It has.
And I'm glad that we ended up, ended on a good note, as heavy as it was, by providing some tools and resources, because they've definitely been helpful for B and I. Yeah. And we hope that you're able to use this information to reflect and see if there's if this is an area you can develop in, or if you see it in somebody that you love, have a conversation. Let's be courageous and have conversations.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Courageous and have conversations. Oh,
yay.
Oh my goodness. I mean, be courageous and have these conversations about codependency, because we talked about it, and it can be a very slippery slope, I'm just helping. But what is the reaction if your help is not accepted, or if your help if the person is not doing what you think that, how are you reacting to that person? Because if you're helping out of the goodness of your heart, then you're not trying to control the outcome of that help, because you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. And that is where that is a great example of a non-codependency relationship to me.
Yes. Well said, B. Well said. Well, take care, beloveds. We'll see you. We'll talk to you. I always say see you. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Maybe we'll see you guys soon too. But
one day. Take care.
Take care. Thank you so much.
If you enjoyed this episode and want to support, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a review. Follow us on Instagram at Development and Shit, Facebook at MELLNB, Twitter at melleneemonique_pod, and visit our website at developmentandshit.com.